Hi, I'm EKWarren. I'm a New York City-based makeup artist. I primarily do editorial. I also do a lot of TV, and I'm hoping to get more into film. Today, I'm working with my best friend Marissa, who has been with me since I was a little girl doing makeup, and today we're going to do a classic sort of old Hollywood starlet. Really clean skin, a cream brown liner, maybe some lashes, and a really sexy red matte lip. Okay, just like everyone else here in New York, Marissa's got really dry skin, so we're gonna get her moisturized with a gentle moisturizer. I like to use Cetaphil because it basically works on everybody. And after working several fashion weeks and having the models tell me that they can't use what I'm using because it's too fancy, I just bought the drugstore stuff. Also gonna load her up with some lip balm. So her lips will be nice to take the matte lip color that we're going to use. I like to use matte lip pencil, and it goes on really well if you use put it onto a really soft, moistened lip. Okay. Marissa's really lucky because she's got really porcelain skin naturally, and the only flaws that she's ever had in her skin, I can attest, are a little bit of darkness under her eyes. So I'm going to give her some of my lightest concealer foundation. Give it a test. We don't want to make her too light. But I've been using the Makeup Forever high definition foundations, and you only need a dot about this big for the whole entire face. Now this is looking a little light. So I'm going to warm it up a bit with one step higher, and that's the 115. And I think the mix of both of them will do a good job. Lately I've been using my fingers on people that have super smooth skin because I don't want to do crazy amounts of coverage on someone who has been so lucky as to not have to deal with any sort of breakouts ever. Isn't that right? And Marissa also has really long, full lashes on the top and the bottom, which she's so lucky to have. But I'm going to put a couple of extra, just for the hell of it, across the middle to really give us that pretty Hollywood glam feel. And especially you notice the dryness really hits on the chin and around the nose during the winter. So I do like to use these liquid formulations because they kind of just seep into the skin. They don't sit on top like some of my creamy ones do. Just going to pat it in. I might use a little bit of the cream foundation or concealer just below her eyes, so it looks like she can take a little extra hit from maybe a few nights with a little less sleep than she needs. I like really light foundation, especially if we're just talking about every day. Not going to bother contouring her skin today because I like her just the way she is. She's got some crazy eyebrows that really need some tweezing, so we're going to get a hold of those next. Normally I would do that first, but actually sometimes I find if I put the foundation where it should be first, then I can actually see the hairs even better. Purposely, I'm going to kind of leave her skin as it is, really smooth and sheer. And as you can see, I really just used a little bit. I blended those two dots together, and I still have plenty that I can touch up with later. Okay, I'm going to go for the brows. And I don't want to take away too much because I know that she has a tendency to take away some even when I tell her not to, from this thin part here. So I'm just going to take the ones that clearly don't belong, and I'm going to leave the rest. And a lot of times people generally will come and they'll have that kind of tadpole shaped eyebrow. And I think hers just kind of grows naturally to that point at this point. So I might just take a few hairs from here so that it goes at a nice angle instead of the club tadpole shape here. And I'm also going to beef that up a little, as I said, with the powder liner and a brush. Another reason I really like those Makeup Forever foundations is they come in a wide range of colors. And just the other day I was working with a model who literally was the opposite skin tone of Marissa. She was ebony. She was from the Sudan. And I was able to match her skin tone with the darkest shade that they make in that foundation. It was 185. And I really, honestly, since I've had them in my kit, I haven't really even gone to, I use a lot of the Secret Camouflage by Laura Mercier to patch any holes, but I don't necessarily use anything other than those. And I've been very happy with them, and I've had them for about a year. And I probably will just stick with them unless somebody comes with something better. They're the same sort of consistency as the Giorgio Armani that everyone loves, but quite a bit cheaper. And I like them because they have plastic bottles. I transfer mine into disposable travel bottles, but if you wanted to carry them around, they're not going to be as heavy as the Armani ones are. I don't want to take too much because, as you can see, she's got that natural thin line. Those are just the ones that clearly didn't belong. Okay, look at me for a minute. And the only one I'm going to take, honestly, is this one that really makes a square bottom here, this little cluster here. It's like 2 or 3. And I'm hoping that makes that a little more angular here and takes away that tadpole look. And I'm liking the way it looks, so go back over the spots that now are a little bit red and dab my poor model's eyes. Okay. All good. Good? Mm-hmm. You can just close your eyes and rest if you want for a few minutes. Okay, I'm just going to go back over the spots that I had covered. Finger, I'm just using, again, my fingers because I like to use either a brush or fingers, even if I'm putting on this the liquid foundation, because it has enough coverage for what I like to see personally. And anything more would seem odd to me for her. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the lip color because it is so bright red. A lot of times my clients get really freaked out by red. And I find that if I put it on them first, it's not so scary. I find that if I go ahead and try to give it to them first and they have a little bit of time to like face the mirror and look at things, they won't be totally panicking about the way it looks. So she's still got the balm on her lips. I'm just going to give it a little press because I don't want it to be so solid yet. I'm going to press off the balm, but she's still got a little on there because they need it. And I'm just going to start going at it here. I love these NARS pencils. They make so many shades of red. This one is Dragon Girl. I also really love the Cruella shade that they make. And I like this one from Marissa because it's got a little bit of a bluish hint to it. They also make a really orangey tone that's really nice too. And now I know I said, again, it feels odd to do lips first. But I like to do it because when you sit in it, and I've done a couple of clients this way recently, where I was like, come on, just try the red lips. Just try them. We'll put them on first. And sure enough, by the end of the hour, when the rest of the makeup was on, it wasn't such a shock. They didn't only have 1 minute to get used to it. They had several looks in the mirror before they really decided that it was working or wasn't. So I'm going to give it a try. And these chubby pencils are good. They kind of get every angle that you want. And you probably won't even need to use a lipstick over top at the end of it. The thing is, as anyone knows, as any makeup artist that works Fashion Week knows, it'd be great to have ages to put this on. And oftentimes you only have 3 minutes to switch a model who was wearing something completely different into a perfectly lined red lip. So the nice thing about these chubbies is they get a lot of coverage in just a few swipes. And the texture is pretty matte as it is. If you see on my hand, it's very matte. She's got a little bit more of a sheen because I left that balm on her lips. Okay. I'm almost to where I want it to be. And what I'll do is I'll leave it on for a little bit while I go back and do the rest of the features that I want to do. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to perfect it with a lip brush at the end once I have sat there looking at it for a while. Okay? So let's move on. I'm going to use a pretty iridescent shade. Of course, it's discontinued, so I can't tell you what it is. But it's just a really pretty white, sort of iridescent tone that looks really pretty and really light washes over the eyes. And that's a little more than I even intended. So I'm going to put it on both. And I'm just going to take it from the lash line to the brows. And you guys may be thinking, wow, she's doing this all out of order. Sometimes I like to do it that way because, as I said before, like I might change my mind. Oh, maybe this tone isn't the one I like. And so that gives me a little bit of time to adjust and think whether or not it's the one that I want to be using. And I've decided for sure it is the color I want to be using. I'm going to go after her brows and lashes here in a few moments. I think her eyes now are probably settled enough for me to get under there and get the concealer going. Okay, and Marissa, she has light blondish hair. She will totally flip if she sees something really dark in her brows. And so would I probably. I have the same tones in my brows. She's even got a little bit thicker brow than I do, believe it or not. But what I think I'm going to do is just use a really light blonde shade. This is the Brow Shader in Buttery Blonde Taupe from MAC. And this way, if you screw up a little bit, you can always go back and fix it. It's still going to look a little bit dark on hers. Right now, I'm liking the shape of this one. This one is very square at the bottom. So I am going to try to go and add a little bit of width here. And that may be all that I'll do. We'll see. Obviously, we want them to be sort of uniform. So I'm going to give her a little filler. I'm going to brush the stuff up into her hairs and upward, because that's also turning the hairs a bit darker as well. I don't want them to be too strong because it's just not, I don't think it's going to work with her skin coloring. I don't want to make her someone that she isn't. So we're just going to get in there, fill the brows, make them nice and solid. This one is quite a bit thinner on the side, which most people have that, myself included. It's hard to get your brows to match up. My suggestion to get them to match up perfectly is to just pull one hair at a time and look each time that you do. And before you pull it, just lift it with the tweezers and actually look in the mirror. Okay, a little more here. And a little more here. See, I'm doing that diagonal line, trying to cancel out that little triangle space that we want to hide there. I'm going to give her a little brush through here. Work it in. Now you could potentially go and block out a whole shape, but because I can see up close the strength of the hairs that she actually does have, I think it would look a little off. If she had really sparse hairs, I would totally do that. But she's got a lot of hairs. They're just sort of filled in differently from one to the next. So I'm going to go back once more, and I'm going to add actually just a touch of from the brown, because this one actually does look a touch darker. And I think she can take it without looking too strong. Now let's get back to business under those eyeballs. I'll go for some concealer. And actually, I broke apart my Secret Camouflage by Laura Mercier, and I like to use them in any combination. I don't necessarily have a picky way. I just kind of mix them all together to what seems right. Look up for me. I'm lucky because Marissa wears, she wears contacts, so she's super tolerant with her eyeballs, usually. We'll see if we're lucky with that today. I don't want it to be too light necessarily. I'm liking the way this is looking, mixing a few of them together. And you know, people may have to use different shades on their face from what you would think, because all of us are different skin tones, especially if you have somebody who has like African American skin tone. She may have several different shades in her skin. You may not be able to just use one foundation or one concealer or cream coverage all over. It may just not work that way. And I'm going to go back and touch over that. And I actually really like how sweet it looks, the brightness of the red and the paleness of everywhere else. But I'm going to give her a touch of a really sheer peachy pink, like an orgasm. Look up for a minute. Is it too bright for you? Okay. Just going to give our eyes a rest here for a second because we don't want them to start juicing up again. Okay, one more time. Touch of the 115 again. Just sort of seam it all together. Okay. Somebody sent these to me today. They're the e.l.f. complexion brushes. And I'm actually really surprised to say that they're great. Like, I like them. It's the studio ones, and I actually took it with me because I thought the powder brush was pretty nice. I do have a light bouncing powder. I wouldn't necessarily use this all over. It's one of those brightening powders. I am going to just put a touch of it below her eyes because I'm liking the glow effect that we've got going on there. Okay, look up again. Just going to smooth out any crinkles. And just put a little of that underneath. Don't want to go crazy. A little more over here. I like those Secret Camouflage ones because they just kind of stay when you put them on. Some people use them solely with nothing else. And I'm liking the coverage that I've got going on there. What I think now I want to do is give her lashes a little bend with the lash curler. We know this is scary for a lot of clients that don't get it done every day. So I always just tell them to look down, not to fear. Don't have to raise your brows, just relax, look down, and I'll lift the lashes into the comb, okay? And then when I press, always at the roots, I ask, is this okay?
Yes.
Still good?
Yep.
I'm gonna give them a squeeze. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna go once more so it's not just a straight bend. Is this okay?
Yep.
1, 2, 3. And let's see if I like the way that lifts. Yes, beautiful. Okay, again over here. Your eyes okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Lifting them into the lash curler. Get close to the roots as possible. How's this, okay?
Yep.
Give them a squeeze. 2, 3. I'm gonna lift a little bit further down the root. Is this okay?
Yep.
1, sorry, closer to the tip. 3. And let's look at them together. That looks good. Sometimes the lash curler, the way it presses, kind of takes away what you've got on there. Just kind of touched up with your fingers. It's all good. Okay. Next, I'm gonna go over close, soften again. And I promised you we would do a few lashes, and Marissa's got really long, beautiful lashes as it is. So I'm not gonna go crazy, but I do wanna put a couple of them because we are going for the old Hollywood glam, yes? So first I love the dark tone duo. I'm squirting a little on the back of my hand. I'm just gonna let it get tacky, kind of a nasty texture. And then I'm gonna pick up some of the short lashes, because even though she's got long lashes, the shorts, I think, are about the length that I want, because really what I want for her is for them to look a little fuller, not necessarily yards longer. So I'm going to look at where I want to put them. I'm going to take a comb and I'm going to comb through the lashes. Look down where she's got them now. Kind of separate what's there. See where there's any gaps. She doesn't have many. And she's got a nice eye that kind of sits up forward off of her face, unlike mine, which are really deep set and kind of back. Hers kind of set forward, and so they are going to look longer regardless of if they are actually long or not. I'm going to start at the outer corners. I'm going to do a little bit. I like to use my fingers, to be honest. When I use the tweezers, sometimes I get a kink in the root. So I'm going to do a little bead on the tip and ask her to look down. I'm going to lift up her lash there, and I'm just going to anchor it, not all the way to the outer corner, but just kind of set it right there. I'm going to push it up and under. Once more. There we go. I'm liking the way those look. I'm going to relax on those for a minute, and I'm going to go back to the other side. I like to do 3 and 3, see where I stand, and if I need more, I'll come back. I'm just going to turn her face this way and look down. I'm going to sneak up under there. Look down. Thank you. Okie dokie. Okay. I just have them on the back of my hand. Okay. Go again. And if you got any crazy twisters, just kind of be mindful of where they are. You might have to take them down later. It's not the end of the world. Okay. Do one more. Up under there. She's got twisters because hers are really long and I curled them good. So here's what I'm going to do is lift them all together. I'm going to tuck her skin roll over there and that should give us a better stick. Okay. And I'm liking the way that looks so far. Look down, please. Don't close though, just look down. I would recommend not having them close. Just blink whenever you need to. When they close, they can sometimes get the glue stuck on both. Obviously, that's not that big of a deal, but it can be to someone who's never had lashes before and thinks that they're never going to see again. So just have them look down. Okay, I'm taking some of the medium lashes now, and I'm going to try these in the middle and see if they look good. I think they will. Sometimes that just opens it up. Look down, please. And if you do a really great job on lashes, sometimes you can't even tell where they are in your set, which is good. I'm liking the way they look so far. I'm going to keep going with it because why the heck not? Lashes are fun. And in my experience, everybody loves lashes. I actually do eyelash extensions, the individual extensions by Novalash. And I can tell you, people pay a lot to do this. And if you don't have the money, this is just as easy. Look down. For just one night. Okay. Let's see, she might have a gap, so I might move that over 1 inch over. Or sorry, 1/8 of an inch over, I should say. And don't worry about the duo. Even though it's dark, what you can do is we'll go back later with the cream liner and just hide those. Look down. I just had some crazy twisties, but I decided it's okay, man. Twisties are fine. So I'm going to go back in with the shorts and fill in any gaps that I may see. like the way that is. Makeup always changes. You may decide later, you know what, I really hate this blush and start over on the blush. But if you do it one step at a time and look as you go, you may have less options to do that. Okay, look down in that way, please. Get in there in the corner. Down in that way. Now, we want to get that same flick. Look down, just straight down this time. You want to get that same little flick of the wrist there on the outer point. So this is the tricky part. You got to make sure your brush is loaded and it's not dry and it's not going to drag. So here we are loaded. Look down in that way for me. And I'm going to just sort of eyeball it. It happens to just sort of follow her natural line of her eye. Just going to flick and hope for the best. See? Okay, and look down. And I think that's pretty decent. I'm just going to connect that there. If you fuss too much, you're not going to have as much of a point there. And now we want to make sure that she's got the same lift on each side. All right, I'm okay with that. I can live with it. Last but not least here, I'm going to do a little bit of a brown shadow. Actually, just a touch along the lower lashes of just brown, plain old brown shadow. Because I don't want it to be too top heavy, that look. So I'm just going to literally try to dust most of it off, but just trace, look straight ahead along the lash line to fill it out a bit. I'm going to see if that did much. It did a little something for me. And of course, your client, just tell them to blink whenever they need to. You're not trying to blind them. And the underside is always the most difficult to get everyone to sit still for. Okay, and now we're in the home stretch, hallelujah. The model can start tapping her leg as soon as I'm done with her mascara. And of course, you're gonna have the lipstick issue, so remember to tell your client, lick the teeth often. Put a piece of gum in your mouth or something. Okay, obviously I'm gonna use disposable wands to enhance the life of my mascara. Look down. I actually, I like to use all kinds of mascara. One I personally use most of the time is L'Oreal Lash Out. I really love that stuff, man. You can't go wrong. They're really generous usually, sending you samples. I'm just gonna guide her face over a little. This is the MAC, I think it's called Plush Black. I'm gonna double check the name, but it's nice too. It's juicy. And you want to make sure that you're getting in there close to the roots, but you're also hiding, you know, which are her lashes and which are those fake ones. And try not to take away that line you just put there. Sometimes that sucker likes to disappear. Look down, all the way down. This way she doesn't freak out when she sees the mascara brush coming at her. There's a twister. I think I can coax it up. I think I can get it here. Okay, so far so good. Looking like everything's pretty uniform here. I'm gonna get out to the outer corners. And what I have always envied about Marissa is she's got these beautiful long lower lashes. A lot of women won't put mascara on their lower lashes. Look down in that way for me. Because they're afraid that they look too monstrous. If you have it flaunted, it's one of those things where it's like a lot of people don't have any. Look down in that way. Over here. So I'm just going to use what's left on this brush. I'm going to have her look straight ahead if we can get this done. Do just a little tickly. Okay. If it's clumpy, that's okay. We're going to go back through with a comb. I always try to get the client, I'm like, blink, do whatever you need to do, just don't look down, because when they look down, their lashes will touch that concealer that you perfected so long ago. And then you got to go back and touch that up. So instead, I'm just going to get her to, I usually give them a point to look at. I'm like, stay looking about here. If you need to blink, that's totally fine. But stay looking about there. Usually if I'm standing right in front of them, I point right at this part of my nose and I say, look right here. It usually works. If you give them a point. And I find too that if you want people not to blink so much, you can also give them something to look at, like your hand. If they have something to look at, they're not fearing what's coming at them as much. I'm going to comb these lashes a little bit too because I want to make sure they look pretty nice. I'm liking the way they look. You know, they look kind of pretty, and I'm actually seeing a space that I'd like to add another lash here. I know it's a little bit last minute, but that's how I roll. I'm going to give her a little lift. Tuck that one right in. You know what? It doesn't even really need to have mascara on it, I don't think. I'm going to take a look at her. I have to get in front of the camera, but I want to see how she's looking. She's flushing a little naturally because it's warm, but that's cool. I'm going to take a bit more of the powder and dust over everywhere. Top of everything. I really like the shade of this lips without anything else. You could bump it up if you want. I'll show you what it looks like bumped up, but this would be my favorite way to do it, and I think that most of the time this kind of would have been the shade they would have done. I'm going to use like a pink toned reddish gloss. So we'll let her see herself here. Wow. Scary? She's scared of the red, I know her. But we'll take the bangs down, right? Always make sure before you touch someone's face that you don't have this all over you and you mess up what you just painstakingly took so long to do. Give her a little fluff. And now we have HollyWood Glamour.